How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink, and I know things.
Hello, and we're back for the podcast that drinks and knows things, Epilogue episode for Season 5, Episode 3, Hi Sparrow. We are still joined by Melissa of House Algorithm.
Yes, hello.
Hello. We still have Glenn of House Dog. Hello. We still have Ben Sly of House McLean. And I am still Lugan of House Blackme. We kicked Abby out of the studio. Said, get the fuck out.
Beer Hog is also MIA.
Sans Studio right now.
Sans Studio.
Or Abby sitting.
Maybe Abby sitting. Maybe Clovis sitting. I probably should have checked on him. But anyway, we are going to do a real quick run through the episode of book to show and also more spoiler just filled. If Melissa said she didn't necessarily know all of the book to show differences as well, but she also has seen the show. So if there's something that you see connects forward, feel free to throw out an idea out there. So first area that we saw was Bravos with Arya, Jaqen, and the Waif. So this is, I don't know, I think it's pretty clear that most people thought they really dropped the ball with Arya's scenes throughout Bravos. I don't know, is that just me? I think that's pretty well established.
It's pretty generalized, yeah. The only problem I had was Waif's attitude. Book-wise, Waif was a cool helper. She was there to guide and teach. This one, she's jealous, she's conniving, she's just not a good person.
The only thing that helps me out is that when I read the books, and I've only read them once, so apparently I suck, but I had a hard time picturing some of the Arya stuff. It just didn't always feel in the books as well, I don't know, grounded in like the world. I just had a hard time always picturing it. And so it's nice to see it because it makes more sense to me than it did when I read it the first time. Now, if I were to go back and read it in all my free time, I'd probably say, oh my God, what the fuck? They missed all this shit. But it's nice to be able to see it because that was always part that was hard for me to visualize.
The visuals they use is good. I'll give them credit for the visuals they've used for the House of Black and White and Faceless Men. It works. So I do agree with you on that. I'm not hating on that at all.
Glennie?
So I think, like, if this episode came out in 2015, like at this time, and like now it's 2018, I know, but wasn't like the Winds of Winter supposed to come out like soon-ish?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because
like, at this point, they're starting to run out of Arya stuff. I mean, they're kind of doing this, but as far as the book is concerned, like it's kind of towards the end of what
the material.
There's only
the
material,
right?
It's sparse
left to work with material-wise at this point,
and like a lot of like scenes throughout the whole show now and like moving forward are kind of just like collaborations and like kind of stuff that we haven't even read in the books because the next book's not out. They just kind of run out of material for a lot of characters. And it was just kind of rumor that, oh, the next book's coming out in, let's just say 2015. And then it's just continually been pushed back. And I think, like, as a show, they're just like, okay, well, we're just going to move on and, like, tell our story. And then, apparently the book is going to be different, different or whatever.
Yeah, no, I think you're entirely right that they started running out of material and some of the storylines that they tell kind of fall flat because they are so in love with a character and they kind of force them into situations that might not make that much fucking sense.
And it's just, I'm sure what happened was like, all right, gonna do this. And then by the time the season's over, the next book's gonna be out.
And then we'll be fine.
And then we'll have more material.
Yeah, like, I feel like season 5 is a lot of that. Season 5 is
5 and 6.
Like they're
basically the rest of it.
6 isn't 6 when they started
like
finally saying, fuck it, let's just do our own shit.
Yeah.
In 5 they weren't doing that yet. In 5 it was
they were trying
we have this to work with and we have this to work with. We have to make the timelines kind of go together. You could feel them being constrained by the books. And yes, 6 and 7 did shit that we were like, what the hell are you making this decision for?
This is new stuff.
Yeah. Or even just like that's not what Brienne is doing. Like, what the hell, right? But at least they owned it. Here they felt like they were handcuffed to the book. And Arya is somebody you can feel that with.
This is the season of a bit of a purge of the viewership because the book readers were like, what? Like they had a hard time mentally separating it, and clearly some of the writers did as well. And
the big thing too is this season is the season we have 2 books to work with we have 2 novels worth of material to work with, and they just went their own way with a lot of it. Because up until last season, it was all book 3. You know, they finished off Storm of Swords pretty much with a few moves forward, but then they had 4 and 5. You know,
which are the longest books.
What's that?
Which are the longest books.
Well, yeah, they needed 2 seasons for that one. I get that. But 4 and 5, you know, you can merge the storylines, and you had 2 worth stuff, but a lot of this was, we're just going to go our own way, but they just didn't know how to break free from it. As Melissa was saying, they had to try to figure out, you know, ways to go. And this one, it fell flat.
I really feel like they left Bran out of season 5 entirely. They should have left Arya out as well.
And then we could have picked up
with both of them in season 6, gotten through House of Black and White pretty quick, and they could have done everything that she's done in this season and next in one season. Yeah, really easily.
2 to 3 episodes, they could have knocked all this out.
And
you're right.
Episode 1, she shows up there, right? Episode 1, season 6. Episode 2, she goes blind. She spends the next 2 episodes blind, and then she gets it back, and then goes through the rest of the training program and heads out. That's all you really needed. She wouldn't
have had to show up in episode 1. She could have just been there.
Right? Yeah.
Bam, we're here.
You know, yeah. Show up episode 1 of season 5.
They just drag down way too much with it.
Yeah. I don't even mean show up. Like literally start season 6, and she's just there doing her shit
as if she had been there.
Yeah,
and that's fair. Doing the
and she was there.
And that's what
they did with Bran.
Yeah, that's show up in the middle of the montage.
Yeah, the montage. We had a montage while you were not viewing, so welcome back.
All right. Any other thoughts on Bravos right now? All right. This is Melissa's favorite thing to talk about. King's Landing with King Tommen and Queen Marjorie. We've also got Qyburn stuff. We've got some High Sparrow stuff. What do you guys want to peck at?
I like
on this
Marjorie.
one, I'm actually okay with it. Like I said, the aging up of Tommen, it works because they needed to. For the show-wise, they needed, because it would just been way too fucking creepy had they kept him 9 years old. You know, so aging him up for this, he's around 15, 16, 14, 15. It works. I don't know. I mean, there's a big changes, but not huge kind of thing. And the problem is we don't get Cersei's inner monologue, which is all the information we ever get from the books for these scenes is just from Cersei. So we don't get her inner crazy fucking nut job monologues going. So it's a good, I'm okay with these changes.
I like Marjorie a lot better in the show because I think we're not just getting Cersei's point of view.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, she's a lot more likable. I use that word very relatively, but you can sympathize with Marjorie a little better in the show. So she's one of the few characters who are benefiting from not always having characters' perspective chapters.
Yeah. Glennie?
So, trying to make sure how I want to say this. Like a lot of times, stuff like this, so we have like a underage kid, I guess, sleeping with like you said, a girl in her 20s or whatever. Like it just seems weird.
That's
but I think a lot of times people kind of put it as like today's society of, you know, right and wrong and stuff like that. I don't know, it's just kind of weird to think about. But like, I guess in this, the way you got to like separate it in like this, I guess, society, it apparently is right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, they've been doing this. This is not the first time that people aren't really looking at it as being that weird. In the books, at least they talk about how, like, Jaime's like, well, they can sleep in the bed together the first night, but he's too young to do anything anyway, and then, like, whatever. Like, it's just kind of like it's a symbolic thing. They don't actually do anything because
and a lot of
they
times
can't.
These marriages are just by name only. It's just they're just a name.
It's basically two organizations making a huge merger is what it is. It's not even a relationship that matters. It's two CEOs. Norms. Yeah, absolutely. You're entirely right, Glenn.
Yeah. Now, another thing that I just had to pull up here because I wasn't sure, but I did like how the scene was shot with them using, because Natalie Dormer is, at this time, she's 36 now, minus 3 years. So she was 32, 33 at the time of this filming, maybe 31. The actor, Dean Charles Chapman, is 21 now, so he was 17, 18. But the show did it very well. There was no nudity actually shown in, the shot to, negate from any kind of, weird feeling kind of thing of that. And I liked how they played that up too, because if people didn't know these actors were actually a little bit older or whatever, but they're looking at it, it was a very well shot scene to make it, it felt wrong and creepy, but it wasn't overly exposed, I guess. And I don't know why, where I'm going with that thought process, but it was just one of those, I just had to kind of look up that information. But it was a well shot scene for what they were trying to portray.
We didn't actually even talk about the scene with Qyburn, where he's down in his dungeon, and it was just funny. Like the monster, which we know is Mountain Kyborg, whatever you want to call him, and
Mountain Strong.
Sir Mountain Strong.
Mountain Strong.
And he's just like, shh. I just thought that was an awesome scene.
He never jumps, too.
Yeah, he's just like, this is whatever. Like keep it down.
It happens every day.
Yeah.
Right about now.
It's 4 o'clock.
That's about right. Make a note of that.
I'm doing my research with rats or whatnot.
Any thoughts on High Sparrow
Scabbers.
Or Lancel?
On High Sparrow,
King Turtle or Lord Duckling?
King Turtle, Lord Duck.
The casting's great. I mean, they do a phenomenal job with this character. I think it's questionable on his intentions the whole time. Later on, when he talks to Queen of Thorns, it's just like, is this guy like totally legit? Like, it just seems like he kind of is, and it's just left ambiguous until it's just like, okay, well, we're just gonna blow you up because we can't figure you out, which is what Cersei does.
And that's my biggest issue is his ending, because I prescribe to one theory that he's a certain other character that we see in season 7. Maybe 6. But so it's one of those of, I don't want my theory to be, I want them to have taken and just ran with it how they ran with it and the books be different.
Who are you saying that he is? Maribald? Or
what's that?
Maribald or the guy at the Lonely Isle?
No, he's fucking Jojen Amir's father.
Howland Reed?
Howland Reed. That's my theory.
We see him young Howland Reed. I'm with you. Yep.
We see young Howland Reed at the Tower of Joy. So my theory is the High Sparrow is that, and if that's the end of it, I'm going to be, book-wise, I'll be pissed. Show, I can accept it because it was never confirmed or anything like that. But it's like, so it's one of those weird things of, I love this character, I love this actor, and he plays it well, but there's no motivation kind of thing of why he became. I know he tells the backstory and we take him for his word, but it's one of those of, in this show, you don't believe anybody at their word, and all we have to go off of this character is his word of what his backstory was. So it's kind of one of those, it's a weird character. I love the acting and it's played well. It's just the writing of it, it's a little off to me.
Final thoughts?
Yeah, like we were talking about his ending and like Martyrs. Basically, when Cersei blows up the place, like it ends a few different storylines or characters.
Pretty convenient for the story where they're trying to
kind of compact everything, and like it was just a little too convenient, I think, where they're gonna get rid of him. Like, not saying that like that's gonna happen. Like, it
does somewhat fit her character though, which is why it works for the story that they're telling. It works,
but it was just like at the time.
Well, we don't really want to figure out this Loras thing. We don't want to talk about Sparrow. Natalie Dormer.
It's
Sparrow's
really like,
lingering.
We started off the story so narrow with all the Starks, basically. A little bit of Tyrion, a little bit of Dany, but it was Starks.
Yeah, you've got 5 main characters.
And it got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
And the books are doing that at a much more rapid pace.
We have no idea how far the books are going to go if they ever
keep expanding,
keep going.
Right.
But eventually the show is like,
we need to go.
My arms hurt. And so Big Bang Theory right there, collapsing back in on each other. How do we get rid of all of these people? Let's blow them up. Okay. Who can pull that off? Cersei!
Yeah, and they never did do the burning of the Tower of the Hand scene, which they did, which is in the book. So this, again, feeds into even book characters. She has kind of a fetish with fire a bit that we see with the green.
And she's so unpredictable.
Yeah, and she's unbalanced. So frustrated with the problems. Let's just cancel these problems. It makes sense. So let's go ahead and talk about Roose, Ramsay, Reek, Sansa. This is one of the worst things in season 5 is the change of bringing Sansa to Ramsay. I think it completely undercuts any type of character development that Sansa's ever going to have, because she she will never be able to take the power like like what I was getting to earlier was it seems like Microfinger is trying to get to a point where he's coaching her into a spot where she can take the reins and start playing the game. He doesn't know anything about Ramsey, about what's going to happen, and that's it. I don't like what the show does because it destroys her character, but it's just bad. I just don't like it at all.
Season 7 Sansa doesn't suck.
No.
But Season 7 Sansa will never exist in the books.
It might.
She will never, because what show Sansa went through as wife of Ramsay won't happen in the books. Because they have, is it Jane? Or one of her friends
Jane Poole
taking that place.
as Arya.
Yes, taking that place as the wife of Ramsay, which means Sansa will never go through that. So no matter what happens to Sansa in the books, it's not this Sansa.
But we haven't met
unless she goes
Harry the Heir
north somehow.
And so,
but even if she goes north, we don't know.
She wouldn't have lived. Are you saying she wouldn't have lived through something like this, and it makes her as hard as she becomes?
She's a much stronger person in season 7 because up until Ramsay, let's be honest, up until Ramsay, even watching her father be killed, even having to live under the thumb of Cersei, even having Microfinger being in charge of her, she didn't have any personal trauma to herself.
Joffrey, living through Joffrey.
But
that's
like,
pretty
it never
rough.
hurt her body. But I don't know.
Trent.
I just
they
think,
literally beat the shit out of her.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not.
I know. I just think Ramsay changed her.
Oh, to
more
the
than
core.
And that isn't going to happen in the books.
I hope it doesn't.
That's my point.
Yeah.
But the problem
not that
with
I hope
that
it happens to Jane Poole either, but
no. But the problem with that is we're not going to get
the
kick-ass Sansa that happens in book. I'm afraid Sansa in the books is always going to be the petulant Sansa that drives me crazy.
See, and I don't think so. I think she is taking more lessons from Microfinger than we get because she's spending a lot more time around.
Either.
Well, but she's still going to learn I think she's still going to learn the lessons from it, but she also doesn't trust him. She doesn't really trust him, and she knows what he wants.
Learning the game, she's learning that you can't trust anybody. And so Sansa, book Sansa is literally one of my favorite characters at this point now. I cannot, that's the chapter I want to read the most, is her next chapter. I want to see where hers is going. So
Harry the Heir.
Because, what's that?
Harry Harding.
Harry Harding, Harry the Heir. Because, and here's the thing, Harry the Heir may just be just as bad as Ramsay. We don't know. We've never met this guy. We've only heard about him in one chapter. So it's one of those weird things of, I see where you're coming from, Melissa. I think Sansa, by the end of the book series, will toughen up to the point where she's at that cold-hearted, kind of calculating, but she might not have the trauma that she went through.
A Queen Elizabeth type character where she really wears the pants.
Right.
And that's just what it is because she learned the game. Glenn?
Okay.
I think
LMR. Sorry, LMR's got a great one. Hashtag save Sansa smarts. Sorry, go ahead, Glenn.
No, I think it's it's definitely weird how they're playing have Sansa do that. It's like we talked about a game of collaborations.
Consolidations
or whatever.
Either
they're having
both.
Sansa play instead of getting a new actor and have Sansa Sophie Turner just not do anything or whatever and getting a new actress or whatever to come in and play. They're just going to pay the same one and you're going to get
her more screen time, more acting opportunities in awful ways.
But on the flip side, if you're looking forward to the next book, maybe eventually some of these storylines are going to be these are going to be brand new things that aren't in the show. And that could go either way, I guess. Mm-hmm. But, if you're just kind of watching the show and then expect something from this character like Sansa that, she's going to marry Ramsay. Not that same, but if you're going to expect that, then it's not going to be good. But if you're expecting, new things that are going to happen, it might be pretty cool.
Agreed. And
whenever that comes out in 2085.
20. I'm calling the coming out November 2019, but
a couple months after the next season ends.
Yeah. So, but because I was on Living My Rhapsody's interview channel this past week, and she asked me, along the same lines of, those kind of questions of the book to show and everything like that. And I'm okay with the show diverting, consolidating, and everything like that. I know, it's going to be different. And all that, and I don't know where the hell my train of thought was going with this, but
you still can't slaughter the character.
Yeah, you don't have to slaughter the character. You don't have to, kill off everything that was good that the book readers wanted. But now, here's the thing. I'm still really looking forward to the book because I want to know where George actually wanted to take her instead of David and Dan, And there's plenty of other characters where it's like, the only thing I want the show and the book to be the same on is maybe the exact ending point, like how everything wraps up together. Beyond that, I want it now. I don't want any of the show stuff in the books. Because I have book-wise, and this is where they made the split of we're no longer basing anything off the books, we're going our own route. So I can live with it, I don't have to like it, but I can live with it. And except for, if you have the material, use the fucking line, which is what the next
Let's
part
get to that part now. So let's go to the wall, where we have John, Stannis, Davos, fucking Ollie, Thorne, Slint.
Fuck Ollie.
Sam. Fuck Ollie.
Fuck Allie.
Melissa, what do you think of Ollie?
I don't know who the fuck he is.
The little kid.
I know who he is, but I don't like.
His parents were killed by wildlings.
Fine.
Fostered him, basically.
Is he in the book at
Nope.
all?
No.
Okay, so he's like.
He's the kid that fucking killed Ygritte.
Oh, okay. See, it's been a while. He just reminds me of like, I'm going to throw Harry Potter. I'm sorry. He reminds me of like the kid in Order of the Phoenix. Well, all of a sudden Colin Creevy's gone and there's this other freaking kid named, what the hell was his name? In the Dumbledore's army, the little one who just showed up and was like not at all a fucking character in the book. And you're like, who the hell are you? And what happened to Colin Creevy?
Oh, the messenger boy. I know
But
who you're
not
talking
really.
about.
Yeah.
He popped in like 3 or 4 times and, Ron, I got a message for you. Or, yeah, that kid. Yeah, that's the same. I know who you're talking about. I can't think of the actor, think of the character. Thanks, Clive. He's basically the Clive of this world. And that's a South Park.
Yeah.
Are you guys looking it up? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll
Go for it. Yeah, Glenn, go for
say
it.
something real quick.
Say it like anything.
Say like anything right now. And I'm saying anything. It just seemed like this Allie kid or whatever is just like Dave and Dan's like baby or whatever. And there's trying to see it all through, And it's the kid that's not in the books or whatever, but it's like they created this kind of kid to kind of bridge the gap to the wildlings attack this, and he comes to the King's Land, or to the wall or whatever, Castle Black, and it seems like they're trying to give him a lot of this stuff or whatever, where they just go by the books.
Yeah. And the other thing too with the Ollie character is, yeah, he's having him sitting on all the meetings and all this. That was supposed to be Ed. That was because Ed was John's squire or John's whatever Steward, thank you. Steward, and
that's not
so
entirely
when John
correct.
fucking leaves the wall and he said, Ed, you have the fucking wall, it makes sense because you've been sitting in all of my meetings and I've been kind of guiding you to be.
I don't think that's accurate because Ed actually gets sent away. He's the one that goes and fixes Greyguard.
Okay, fine. Before, but I'm saying before that, Ed was John's first steward.
Yeah, maybe. I'll trust you on that.
Oh,
Ed was his first steward, and then he does send him away. You're right, he does send him away to Greyguard, but it's kind of one of those mentality things. Is they're turning Ollie into Ed of this, but Ed's a fucking great character that they're just kind of undercutting a lot of his stuff.
Yeah, and it's just kind of weird how they had this other kid come in, and it's like you see a lot of stuff with the consolidations of other characters, but then you still have Ed, but you're creating this new character to take stuff that really you could just gave all that shit to Ed maybe, or something like that that's already been there or something.
Yeah, and just maybe not let Ollie be your steward, but hey, let him be your piss boy.
Yeah,
piss boy,
go make
piss
me
boy.
a sandwich.
Come on.
I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on these scenes. I thought they did a really good job with the Slint scene, aside from the line. I mean, how do you change a line like that? I mean, come on, fetch me a block. It's fucking hardcore. It's just awesome.
Yeah, just Ed, fetch me a block. That's it. Well, because originally wasn't it take him out and hang him, and then he goes, hold up, boys. Mm-hmm. Ed, fetch me a block.
Yep.
Simple enough, But yeah, they had to make this whole thing, and it wasn't a whole thing. They did it well, but
Ollie couldn't fetch a block. He's not strong enough to fetch a block.
He can fucking
what the fuck is a block? A block of cheese?
Goddamn wall. He can fetch a goddamn block.
I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of other thoughts on the wall here. I think
it was well done. It was just annoying for that one line.
Stannis says he's only going to be there for another fortnight, which they don't go through the hey, go get the mountain clans on your side kind of stuff that they do in the books, but whatever. Stannis is doing Stannis stuff. Exactly. Then we have Volantis. It's pretty close, honestly. It's
and like I said in the show, I'm glad they went the route they did, because having Tyrion rape that prostitute or basically force her down and all that.
At Illyrio's palace.
No. Because in Volantis he does it again.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he does do it again.
He does it again, and I'm glad they just whitewashed it and said, hey, you know what, we're gonna make this more of a nice scene kind of thing.
Well, I mean, Tyrion, Peter Dinklage is one of the heroes in the story, and I don't think merchandise-wise you want to undercut one of your main characters it happens in the book.
But going back to last season, my biggest bitch about season 10 or episode 10 was where they made Shay grab the knife. Shay never grabbed the knife. Tyrion just fucking choked the bitch.
Right, yeah. They started whitewashing it from a while back. I know. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I hated that, but this I like because it didn't need it.
Melissa, you got any thoughts on whitewashed Tyrion?
I think book readers tend to be more forgiving of beloved characters because we've been in love with Tyrion since 1996. Do you know what I mean? You have a longer shelf life of it, so you can forgive their imperfections because you understand those characters are not going to be perfect. Nobody in Game of Thrones is perfect. But TV viewers have a lot.
Except Brienne. Brienne's pretty good.
Yeah, she's pretty perfect. Anyway,
so is Ramsay, just in a different way.
Just in the complete opposite way. He's perfectly himself.
He is perfectly evil. There is no redeeming qualities. You're right.
Exactly.
Like, Brienne only has redeeming qualities. Ramsay has no redeeming qualities. Everybody else has a little bit of both.
Yep.
But TV shows, I feel like viewers have a much shorter attention span and loyalty line. Yeah. So that idea that we have to, how do we make sure they still love Tyrion? That he's still like, that's what I do. I drink and I know things, and he's kind of vulgar and crass without being
evil.
Yeah.
Malicious.
Without letting his Lannister show too much. Mm-hmm. And still be the title actor.
Yeah. Clinty?
So with Ramsay, we were talking about, like, I think in like past seasons, they built him up a little bit, and now like all of a sudden it's been like a little lull, and like they've just kind of talked about like you've been filleting people and stuff like that. They haven't shown it as much, so it's kind of like dipped down a bit. But I think like starting now, I think it's going to ramp up a little bit, a lot more because of how evil he is or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's just getting more screen time. We're gonna see it.
Yeah, we're gonna see it a lot more, especially with Sansa being there or whatever. Not saying that Sansa is there in the books, but she's there now.
If I had my John picture back up, nod my head. It's actually, it should be right back here, right?
Yep.
All right. Final thoughts on anything moving forward? We didn't jump around a whole lot in this episode. It was a lot of like, there's just like 4 chunks kind of.
Mm-hmm. It's all power plays.
Yeah.
That's the theme of the episode. It's power plays, and you don't really see anybody win any except for Jon.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of close wins, good fights, witty battle type stuff.
Some draws.
But, and maybe Marjorie kind of comes out on top, but in the long run,
I think it's
not
more of
really.
Getting the upper hand. Now, like, exactly. No, I think like maybe she didn't win, but she got some good jabs in,
and knows a little bit more about Marjorie's game. Right. Like she scouted the enemy a bit.
Yeah, she has the upper hand.
She was like Conor McGregor against Floyd Mayweather for the first 8 rounds. Held her own, but wasn't ready for the knockout.
Boxing.
I don't do boxing, but that one was a good one.
Watch Conor McGregor fight tomorrow night, apparently.
All right.
All right. Well, that pretty much wraps us up here for our epilogue episode. You can, obviously, you're already a patron if you're hearing this early, but you'll probably get this on Sunday. If you're not, if you would like to get it earlier in the week, become a patron to get access to these epilogue episodes and also the show notes, where you can see us clicking around and adding stuff while we record. Learn more at patreon.com/stayimaginary. For all of the ways you can keep our beer bank full, check out thepodcast.com/support us. As always, follow us on Twitter at KnowAndDrink. Send us a digital raven to knowanddrink@gmail.com. Subscribe, like, rate, and leave comments on iTunes and YouTube, because that really does help other people find us, and it promotes us through the algorithms out there to help us reach new viewers who are beautiful
I'm going to throw
like
one
you.
thing more. Find us on Twitter so you can find out when we're on YouTube, and you can sit in our live stream chat like our awesome friends, Live My Rhapsody and OTDA, who are still hanging out with us.
Hell yeah. Those are two of our mods there.
Yes.
And long may they mod. And until next time.
Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack.
As always, winter is coming, and so am I.
As always, thanks.
As always, stay the fuck imaginary.
How do you know this?
That's what I do. I drink and I know things.